AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride! Woo!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Decision Critical, Concierge Nursing. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. I do want to, in about 15 minutes, kind of dig into the question most people are asking, which is, all right, LSU's built a top 5 portal class already. They're getting lots of commits, good players. Where's quarterbacks and offensive linemen? We'll get to that here in about 15 minutes from right now. Right now, please welcome Gordon McKernan onto the show. Of course, great friend of the show, but sort of uniquely positioned to be able to discuss this DeMond Williams thing as both an attorney and a guy who's been so heavily invested in this NIL space in this era. Gee, we appreciate the time. How are you?
I'm great, Matt. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you. Happy New Year. Glad to be doing this again. Let me first just start with your reaction to the DeMond Williams story whenever you saw, of course, he was committed, then said he was going to go in the portal. Washington's blocking him. Now everybody's lawyered up.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me a lot. I mean, it's a very fluid situation out there with all of these portal deals and NIL deals, and you're seeing the free market at play, right? He thought he had a good deal, and all along a better suitor comes along who wants to offer more money. And from what I understand, he had not received any money, so I think in his mind, like, I signed it, but I can back out and go somewhere else.
I don't know is that confirmed, Gordon, whether or not he had received?
No, it's
okay.
Not confirmed, but that's my understanding.
Okay, I hadn't seen, so I just wanted to clarify. Does that necessarily matter whether or not he'd already received any money from Washington?
It doesn't necessarily, but it sure doesn't make the optics as good for him for future case in front of a jury and a judge. I mean, just think about if you hire someone to cut your yard and you pay them the money and they say, all right, I'll be back tomorrow, and the next day they got a better offer to get paid $10 more to cut your neighbor's yard. And then they try to come hand you the money back. You're like, man, I put the money in your hand. We had a deal. We shook on it. It's just a little stickier, you know?
Sure. Does the precedent of the Xavier Lucas case of a year ago, and for those that aren't familiar, it's essentially the same thing. He had a deal at Wisconsin. He ends up not going in the portal. He just goes and enrolls at Miami and is going to play. He's played in every game this year. He's going to play tonight in the semifinals. And Wisconsin is still pursuing legal action, but the kid's gone and played. Does that precedent bear any weight in this situation?
Yeah, I think it actually carries weight a little bit in favor of him going to LSU. Look, the kid's playing this year, right? The legal system will take another couple of years. Everybody will be gone and out of college and into the pros, and you know, maybe the Canes win a championship with him, and all is good in their mind, right? They'll battle that out for several years. And it's a very tenuous circumstance or battle to try to hold these kids to the contract when all the courts and all the eyes looking at this want these kids to have some amount of freedom. And they don't want to bind kids to an institution. I mean, looking at I haven't seen the language of the template, but I read something about it was only Washington could decide if they would allow something. I mean, that looks like a little bit of a contract of adhesion where it's all favored to one side versus the other. But it's just interesting. They're gonna want these kids to be able to have some freedom.
Why?
Well, I just think it's kind of the spirit of what's underlying all this in the house litigation and things like that. You don't, without a collective bargaining agreement or something, they're going to say, look, we're not going to let an institution hostage a kid in a situation like this.
Gordon McKernan's with us. Of course, go to getgordon.com, at getgordon on all the social media. You've done I don't even know how many. You might have a better sense of it than these NIL deals over the last 5 years. When you think, can you sort of explain to us how the structure of those deals work, and as best you know with buyout language? Because that's something that seems to be at the core of this issue with Damon Williams. Like, is there a penalty that he would pay or something like that on this deal at Washington? We haven't seen his contract at Washington, so I don't know. I don't suspect you would either. But is that commonplace to have buyouts or penalties in these contracts?
Well, you can, but you've got to, what are the damages, right? And if you're just having a one-sided penalty language, like sign the document, and if you end up transferring or going wherever, we're going to make you pay $250,000. Is that an excessive type of situation? Is that reasonable given the circumstances, especially when the person hasn't received any money within 48 hours? He notifies you he wants to nullify the contract. Courts are very leery to impose those type of penalties. They just are.
So I guess, so if you go back, you gave the example of the guy cutting the grass and he gets a better offer the next day. So is that just perception as opposed or contrasting what may actually play in court? Like it's optics, right? It's a bad look, but legally maybe Washington doesn't have much ground. Is that sort of what I'm understanding?
Right. It could be. So yeah, all these contracts, the terms of the contract control, unless they're contracts of adhesion or unenforceable by law or morals or something like that. So I haven't seen the contract, but if it's too one-sided, right, in favor of the institution, they're going to strike it down or strike parts of it out. And so you have to go to, what are the damages that Washington would suffer? Well, if they've paid no money, there's no loss, right? They still have opportunities to go get other quarterbacks. There's no loss there. They just can't have this particular quarterback. So how do you quantify that damage? Now, if there's a liquidated damages clause or something like that, a penalty clause, that may have some force as long as it's not overreaching.
Does it go the other way too, G? What would be the so you said you don't want it to be too one-sided. How would you balance that out?
You would give the athlete some more protection inside the contract. Might be something where, a kind of a buyer's remorse clause. You have 3 days or whatever to withdraw to the contract with no penalties, things like that. Because sometimes these kids get swept up in the emotion of the deal. And look, we try it. We want to get our kids on campus and get them to sign while they're here. So there could be like a cooling off period that you would allow for them to rescind the contract with no penalty.
Is there a difference, as best you can tell, with how NIL and rev share contracts are done? Because you've done a ton of NIL deals.
Yeah.
Only LSU or the school can do rev share deals. Is there a ton of difference, as best you can tell, or no?
Yeah, I think there will be some differences. Obviously, the rev shares through the university and what they require of the athlete in return for that compensation is going to be different than what they require from the athlete with a business deal or supporting some local business. There will be some differences for sure.
Yeah. Do you have a best guess as how you think this might all play out?
Yeah, I think, from what I'm hearing, I feel good about where we are. I'm not saying it's a lock. It's not the old Jimmy Ott lock of the week, but it's
what a pull.
I feel good about it. Right, the lock of the week. Not that I ever did that. I lost more money on Jimmy's lock of the week than I ever lost doing anything. But
mark the tape. Turn it into a drop.
Sorry, going way back in the day. But I feel good about it. I think we're in a good position to get him.
Okay. He hired Damon Williams hired an agent, an attorney agent out of Miami who did represent Xavier Lucas in his situation a year ago, but apparently has a lot of ties to the University of Miami. I think that's made some people leery, like, could Damon Williams maybe be looking to go to the U instead of the Baton Rouge? Right. I don't know how this may all play out. Gordon McKernan, anything else that we haven't mentioned that you think is that the audience should know?
No, I'm glad you mentioned earlier in your commentary that we're starting to put together a really good class. And I think what Billy Glasscock and Coach Kiffin are doing is exactly that. They didn't get nervous, right? And this quarterback came, and we haven't found the O-lineman, but they are methodically working through it. I mean, Billy Glasscock's impressive on how he's assimilating all this information. He has hard caps on what he wants to pay, and he's sticking to his plan. And you're starting to hear about the signings, and I have faith that the linemen are coming. And people keep calling me going, why are we letting all these linemen go? I say, what was their record again?
Yeah.
And what were we doing offensively? It was time to do a little cleaning of house.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to do the flyover whenever all the dust settles. But they're just getting cranked up too, G. I mean, they got a lot of work to do on the offensive side of the ball. It'll be fascinating to watch this as it plays out.
I think we don't have a better guy in the country leading that side of the ball, so I think we'll be fine there. Well said.
Gordon McKernan, of course, getgordon.com. Good enough to join us here for a couple minutes. We appreciate it. Thanks as always, for carving out a few minutes.
All right, Matt. Thank you, bud.
All right, man. Be well. That's Gordon McKernan, of course, getgordon.com, at getgordon on all the social medias. We appreciate the perspective. He just does have a rare perspective as a guy that not only is an attorney, but has done a bajillion NIL deals and has been in a lot of those rooms and knows how these things are structured and the verbiage and the language. And if he says he thinks it's going to work out in LSU's favor, I kind of would trust his opinion over mine. All right, it's after further review. Thursday show is presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Let me go into that a little bit more, the quarterbacks and the offensive linemen, because that's what everyone's asking. You've added double-digit players, but where are the quarterbacks and the offensive linemen? So we'll dive into that next on AFR.
After further review.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty, agent225.com, agent225.com. Thinking of buying or selling? Agent225.com. Why would you call anyone other than the realtor that sells more homes than anyone? You want Darren James. Agent225.com, agent225.com. Hey, remember, if you're maybe thinking about selling your home, first of all, you got to know how much your home is worth. Well, a great tool to figure out that number is a free tool right at agent225.com. It's the home value tool. I highly encourage you to do this if you haven't done it yet. Go to agent225.com. It's a website. Do it right now. Get your phone out. Go to agent225.com, agent225.com. Hit the home value tool. It's on the homepage. If you're on mobile, just scroll down. You'll see it says home value. Just type in your address. I mean, it'll take you just as long as it takes you to type in your address. Hit enter, and then boom, it'll use local market data to tell you exactly what your home is worth right now. Agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
All right, glad to have you with us on this Thursday edition of AFR. We will let you hear from the coaches and dig in a little deeper here on the Miami and Ole Miss college football playoff semifinal, which kicks off here. Well, I guess the coverage begins here in about an hour and 13 minutes from right now. Somebody is going to punch their ticket to the college football playoff national championship game. LSU has really gotten rolling here in the transfer portal. Lane Kiffin and his staff have done an amazing job. You're talking about approaching 15 commitments now. They got a top 5 class in the transfer portal, and we knew there was a lot of work to be done, especially on the offensive side. You've seen a lot of that. Now you've also seen a handful of defensive players as well, like we've talked about. Defensive tackle Stephylan Green from Clemson. You got one of the best safeties, arguably the best safety in the portal, and Ty Benefield from Boise State. You added Jalen Brown, the edge from South Carolina. Malik Blockton, the defensive lineman from Auburn. And I believe we might hear news this evening of another defensive lineman, edge player that LSU added today. I'm trying to get this confirmed, but it's exciting that Blake Baker is fortifying his defensive front. get a bunch of guys on the offensive side, some really explosive receivers, some depth at running back. The question everyone keeps asking is, hey, man, where's the offensive lineman and the quarterbacks? Well, we'll start with quarterback because this is the one that is obviously the most important position in organized team sports, and we've seen the most sort of fluctuation. The plan was Trinidad Chambliss. I don't know that anybody can deny that. That was the plan. And had Ole Miss lost to Georgia on New Year's Day, I believe Chambliss and that handful of Ole Miss players that LSU had worked deals through their agents, and you can yell tampering all you want. It's just stupid. It's not tampering. Deals are done through agents. That's what happens. Agents talk to the schools. They get deals done. You know what interest is there. So we see a lot of these guys enter the portal with a no contact tag. They know the places they want to go visit. Like, so much of this, the hay is in the barn. Anyway, Chambliss was the plan. Ole Miss beat Georgia. It delayed the process. I think LSU got skittish. I don't think I know about whether or not Chambliss was going to get the waiver. As you see now what's happening at Ole Miss, they're pressing, and Tom Mars is now pressing to try to get an answer on the waiver because they realize, and LSU said, we're not going to wait. They're going to move on. So they brought in Sorsby. The feeling was that Sorsby had his deal done with Texas Tech already when he showed up at LSU. LSU went and put on a full court press. Kid pick stuck with Texas Tech. Cool. They brought in, as we know, Sam Leavitt. And as I understand it, as we've talked about, there's some real concern about Sam Leavitt's Liz Frank injury. The foot injury that he suffered, it's a serious injury. He's not going to be available for spring. And that's a lot of money to commit to a player at that position if you're not sure about his health. And so I think that's when you saw this sort of pivot to Damon Williams. And now the Damon Williams situation is unfolding the way it is. And it's a bit ambiguous. But as we look at the quarterback portal rankings and who's available that's left out there now, you are really, really narrowing the field. Like, it just take the emotion of the LSU situation out of it. Like, think about Ole Miss right now. If Trinidad Chambliss gets his waiver, they're good. If he doesn't, what do they do? Like, what is their back? Austin Simmons is going to Missouri. They don't have a backup plan. Like, that's a real challenge for them right now, right? So think of now come back to LSU, reframe. So Sam Leavitt's uncommitted, but as I understand it, that ship has sailed. Like, they're not going back down that road with Sam Leavitt. Byron Brown, Drew Mestemaker, Josh Hoover, Brendan Sorsby, the next highest rated guys, they're all committed. Next on the list now is Damon Williams. And then Dylan Raiola. DJ Lagway is now committed to Baylor. That happened today. Rocco Becht obviously is following Matt Campbell to Penn State. The next highest rated player is Deuce Knight, who is a 5-star, but he played in 2 games at Auburn this year as a freshman. It's a real unknown there. He could be the next option if you don't feel good about Damon Williams. But how much longer is Deuce Knight going to sit out there? Kenny Minchie is going to Kentucky. Cutter Boley's going to Arizona State. I'm going in order of the quarterback rankings. Alex Mansky's going from Iowa State to Penn State. Anthony Calandra is going from UNLV to Nebraska. Austin Simmons. Next is Bo Pribula as far as uncommitted quarterbacks. I mean, then you're starting to get, like, if you got to scroll down to find the next uncommitted player, it's Bryce Baker from North Carolina, like the number 258 player in the transfer portal. After you get past Bo Pribula, I mean, you're talking about really, really thinning out your options. So it's like imperative they get Damon Williams, because if not, you really don't have a number one option. I mean, Deuce Knight could be the next one, but I've been told Ole Miss, that's probably their pivot if something goes awry with Trinidad Chambliss. There are 2 other prospects that we know LSU is interested in, but remember, they have no scholarship quarterbacks. So it's not just about adding a starter. You have to add depth as well. And I think you got to remember, it is so rare that you're going to find a place where you have 2 elite quarterbacks on the roster. Look at what Ole Miss did this past year. Like, we think about Chambliss as an elite player, but he was a Division II kid from Ferris State. He was just a backup with some experience who was going to go to Temple, then picked Ole Miss at the 11th hour. Austin Simmons was their guy. Simmons gets hurt. Chambliss has been a great story. But think about what they did a year ago as the template for what Lane Kiffin, Billy Glasscock, Charlie Weiss, what they do. You get your guy, And then you find an experienced backup, not that dissimilar from the NFL, where you've got the guy you invest in, but nobody has two elite level quarterbacks on their NFL roster. So Landon Clark has tweeted he's received an offer from LSU and says he's taking an official visit to Baton Rouge on Friday and Saturday. Now, if you don't know who Landon Clark is, I don't blame you. I didn't before today either. Landon Clark is a quarterback from Elon. So Elon College, and he's a veteran player and has been productive. And when you look at the mold, 6 foot 186, sounds familiar, right? He's from Virginia. He's played 2 seasons there at Elon, played in 4 games as a freshman, then started this year threw for 2,300 yards and 18 touchdowns, ran for another 600 yards. So again, you can see the mold that they're trying to fit. You're trying to have a veteran backup with some experience. The other player that LSU is bringing in for a visit and has offered is a junior college player named Trey Guerra. He tweeted earlier today that LSU has offered. So Trey Guerra out of junior college. This is another prospect that LSU has offered. He's from Tyler Junior College in Tyler, Texas. He played in 7 games as a freshman in 24, played in 12 games this year in 2025. Threw for 2,800 yards, 24 touchdowns. He did throw for 14 interceptions, but he's also a guy that can run a little bit as well. So, and he's 6'2", so he's a little bit bigger than Landon Clark. But you can tell what they're doing. It's the same mold or model as they did a year ago. They had their high-priced quarterback in Austin Simmons, and they went and got Chambliss, a guy with some experience who was coming in to be a backup. Same thing here. They're going to go after their high-priced starter, but they're looking for a depth piece here at quarterback as well. You don't need necessarily 3 or 4 guys, because if you play your third or fourth quarterback, you're in trouble anyway. And it's not an era where you take a quarterback every year in the high school classic, guy stay for 3 or 4 years. If you got an elite level guy, you take him. It's just not how they're building rosters anymore. It's building much more like the NFL model is. So those are the names to watch at quarterback. As far as the offensive line, LSU did finally land an offensive line commitment. Jaquan Sprinkle is the first player on the offensive line to commit to LSU. Now, he's from NC Central. He's shared on social media earlier today that he has committed to the Tigers. Jaquan Sprinkle's a big old dude. He's a 6'6", 300-pounder, played at NC Central, and he's played a lot of football over the last 3 years as a multi-year starter. And the analogy I'll give you is like think in the NFL about small school guys who, maybe don't get the most notoriety, but they go to the Combine and the Senior Bowl, and they go to Combine, Senior Bowl, they really impress, and they end up getting drafted. They get into an NFL system, and they end up becoming a really good player. We see it all the time. I gave you examples, guys like Jermon Bushrod was from Towson. Jari Evans was from Bloomsburg. Teron Armstead was from Pine Bluff. Of course, they took Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa, and that busted, but Nick Saldivari is from Old Dominion, wasn't he? I mean, the point is, you'll find guys at lower levels that maybe coming out of high school weren't really good prospects, but they developed throughout their college career and become NFL. They physically grow into their body at 20, 21, 22 years old, become really good, experienced players. Those guys just now have the opportunity to transfer, make money, and play at a higher level. So that's what you're seeing with a guy like this. So it all comes down to this evaluation. And I know I've mentioned this before, and it feels a bit nondescript, and I really hope at some point we have an opportunity to talk to Billy Glasscock, the LSU GM, on the record about this. But the thing that everybody, you just heard Gordon talk about it when he was with us. Gordon's an LSU booster who's had the opportunity to go sit at football ops and watch and talk to Kiffin and Billy Glasscock and have them explain the vision and how they do it. Like, Gordon's one of many that have had the opportunity to go do that. And I've had the good fortune to talk to a lot of these people, both that work at LSU, that are on staff, that are in administration, boosters, different people who have had the chance to go in these types of meetings, and they all say the same thing. They have a very structured evaluation process, and they are disciplined. So they know what they're looking for. height, weight, 40 times, skill set. Think like what you're looking for at the combine. And you put on the tape, and then you do an evaluation based on the tape. And then you bring them in for an interview, and you talk to them. And how are they personality-wise? Would they be in your locker room with teammates, all that sort of stuff. And you do an evaluation. You put a financial value on it, and you stick to it. And it doesn't matter if they went to NC Central or if they went to Alabama. You're judging the player, not the logo. And so that's the way they're going about doing this. And it's going to be interesting to see how this works. But it all comes back to the question, do you trust their evaluation? Do you trust this staff and their evaluation of these players? And when you're going to NC Central to get offensive linemen and you're bringing in quarterbacks from Elon and JUCO, it tells you they're searching far and wide. They're not just pulling up on three's portal rankings going, who's the top-rated guy? Let's go get them. I mean, a lot of people have asked about Cam Coleman. I was told, and I don't mind throwing this out there, I think we could, you could take or leave this, but it'll make sense. People are like, why is Cam Coleman still unsigned? Cam Coleman is arguably the best player in the transfer portal, elite level wide receiver from Auburn. Cam Coleman wants quarterback money. Let me not say the exact dollar amount, but suffice to say, Cam Coleman wants quarterback money. If you're putting together your roster and trying to decide, where do you make your investment? Do you really want to pay a receiver quarterback money? Or do you think I can get a really good receiver for way less than that and also get a couple of linemen and a defensive tackle? Like, I can build a roster. I mean, think about in the NFL how challenging it is when you pay a quarterback. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs. You pay Patrick Mahomes $500 million, and all of a sudden, well, now you don't have money for Justin Reed. And you don't have money for Tyreek Hill. And you see the core of your roster sort of start to disintegrate. But you got to have the quarterback, right? Okay, the quarterback can overcome a lot. Spending that money on a receiver, not necessarily going to do it, especially at this level. So it's just a little bit of a, peek behind the curtain of how all this is working. And I'm going to be fascinated to see what it looks like when it's done. It's also worth noting that, we're going to get a little bit of a cooling off. And I didn't realize this as well, but I was sent this link that in the recruiting calendar. Next week, there is a little bit of a cooling off period, a dead period from Monday to Wednesday. And it's to accommodate like the travel and the attendance at the coaches convention. So you're going to have a little bit of a cooling off early next week. But until then, it's still going to be head down sprint through this weekend. And I suspect every day we're going to continue to see more visits and more commitments. So I don't think it's going to slow down really until we get into next week. And then, boom, it'll ramp up for that second wave of free agency, of transfer portal free agency. So Tigers honing in on quarterback, offensive line as they continue to build the roster elsewhere. And as we continue to have answers, we'll talk about it here. All right, we're brought to you by First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com. FirstSouthLand.com. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Your first call. First South Farm Credit, they have been first in agriculture for more than 100 years. Every farmer in the state knows. By the way, they not only help you finance your land, they can help you finance your equipment as well. Your farm equipment. First South Farm Credit. Maybe you've taken out a loan. You've done a mortgage before for your home. When you're buying land, you need to deal with someone who what they do every day professionally is help people buy land. Maybe it's that recreational hunting property. Maybe it's an investment property. Talk to your CPA. Buying land could be a great investment. First South Farm Credit can help. Maybe it's 20 acres to build your family's dream home. FirstSouthLand.com. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Go to FirstSouthLand.com. FirstSouthLand.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. We are glad you're rolling along. Got about 30 minutes left here on the show, a little less than that, as a matter of fact. Jimmy's here in 15 minutes. Did you pull Gordon, his rip on? Let's do that. I want to play that for Jimmy when he's here. So we'll get Otterlock, see if Jimmy's got a pick. Certainly I'll have a pick on the college football playoff semifinal night. And when we come back, we'll do a quick preview of that college football playoff semifinal with Miami and Ole Miss. We're about an hour away from that TV coverage beginning. Stay with us here on AFR.
AFR.
As we start the new year, what if your New Year's resolution was finally to put in a pool? Duplessis Builders can help. Y'all, go to duplessisbuilders.net. I would really encourage you to do this. If you've thought to yourself at any point, man, I'd love a pool. Maybe it's a cocktail pool. Maybe it's this grand resort-style pool. Maybe it's an outdoor kitchen. I want you to go to duplessisbuilders.net. I really want you to do this. And even if you're not, this is just a really cool feature so you can see how it works. Go to duplessisbuilders.net. Derek and his team have done this really cool thing. Listen, they can do any type of custom resort-style pool, no matter how elaborate you want it. But if you go to duplessisbuilders.net, there's a pick your pool option. Click on that, and you will see 11 different designs already made out. Pick your favorite design. It'll bring up a separate page. Just click any one of them, Paul. And you can scroll. You pick your finishes, your colors, your stones, all of it right there on the website. Build your pool right now. It's incredible. duplessisbuilders.net.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
These circumstances aren't unique to just one program. We all are faced with it. And, credit to Coach Golding to take over a program in this landscape. Tremendous respect and admiration for what his work has been over the years, and knew he was going to be a head coach. But to be able to navigate all this during this time and still have the type of success that he is having, I think it's off the charts. It's awesome. So we're all responsible to handle it and navigate and manage it as best we can.
Mario Cristobal talking about the job that Pete Golding has done. How about Mario Cristobal as well? That was a Miami team that was on the bubble to get into the college football playoff. They got in. They go beat Texas A&M on the road at Kyle Field New Year's Eve. They beat and upset Ohio State, what was a great football game. And now Miami, a 3-point favorite and 1 win away from playing in the national championship game in its home stadium, which, man, how incredible would that be? I mean, We've had the luxury of watching LSU now 4 times play for a national championship in the Dome. And they won 3 of them. We don't need to mention the other one. But just an incredible opportunity, right? And I think I saw Ross Dellinger earlier today tweet out some of the national championship game secondary market ticket prices, which are rivaling Super Bowl ticket prices. Like upper level tickets in the $3,000 range for a seat, which is amazing. It's just incredible, but goes to show you. I mean, you have a lot of Miami fans, people in Miami who can just go buy tickets in their home stadium. So, what a home field advantage that would be for Miami, which is not noted for its home field advantage. Certainly not since they moved away from the old Orange Bowl stadium, which in its heyday was outstanding. But since they've moved to Hard Rock Stadium now, which has had many different iterations and names, it's hardly been an impressive home field advantage. Might just be that for the national championship game, if in fact they're able to beat Ole Miss and punch the ticket. I'll get to a little bit more about this game in just a quick second. I do have a little bit of breaking news. Was just told actually in the break. Another recruiting visit. Illinois wide receiver Malik Elzy is currently on a visit to LSU. Source just confirmed that to me over at Football Ops. It's fine. I don't need I know we always do the breaking news. I just don't have a lot to say about Illinois wide receiver Malik Elzy. You got anything over there? I
like his name. I like Elzy. That's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
ELZY.
That's strong.
Malik Elzy, the Illinois wide receiver. He's the thumbnail here. He's 6'2", 215 pounds. He's a junior, and I'm literally just reading his bio. He's played 3 seasons at Illinois. In 3 seasons, okay. So go back to my point about looking at a skill set, right? Trusting your evaluation. In 3 seasons, Malik Elzy has 16 receptions at Illinois. Total. 16 receptions for 213 yards and 2 touchdowns. That is not a guy that you would look at and go, got to have him. But if they look at 6'2", 215, and he runs a 4.4, whatever, like they see the skill set, and they like the guy and how he fits, and all, like, That's how they approach it. It's so much more like an NFL draft scouting process and not like high school recruiting, where you're just going after the highest rated guys that you can get here, and maybe a few developmental guys that will stay for a few. It's who fits the skill set of what you're looking for. Anyway, Malik Elzy, Illinois wide receiver, visiting LSU's campus right now. So we'll keep you posted as we learn more. Let's hear from Mario Cristobal. What about Pete Golding, who's on the other side of things right now? Obviously, trying to keep a lot of things the same. There is with a lot of turnover, but as Ole Miss is heading into the college football playoff semifinal tonight.
I think we got enough guys to be able to coach and know the system and do it the right way. So mine was just been trying to keep it as routine as possible. And that's been the whole thing the entire time. This is still the 2025 season. All right, and everybody done a lot of really good things to put ourselves in a position to be able to do this. And I wasn't trying to change everything. This is about finishing out the 2025 season the right way with whatever we have to do that.
I know you're fascinated to see how this game goes tonight, and we'll get Otter Locks and see what Jimmy has to say about it tonight. The pick is posted at LouisianaSports.net if you want to get Jimmy's pick. I'll tell you just candidly, I was surprised that Miami was favored in this game. And I do have a tremendous amount of respect for Miami's defense. I picked Miami to beat Texas A&M for that reason. They are so good on the line of scrimmage. They can run the football and they play defense. And I thought that defense was really going to give Texas A&M trouble, which they did. Now, I didn't have a strong feeling one way or another on the Cotton Bowl with Miami and Ohio State. This game, though, is one where I think Ole Miss offensively has been so good and so explosive, and mostly I think it's Trinidad Chambliss' ability to make plays when plays aren't there. I mean, Georgia created a lot of pressure, but Chambliss has shown the ability to make plays in the face of pressure. I have no doubt that Miami is going to create issues and create pressure on Chambliss, but he has shown time and again the ability in the face of that pressure to evade it and make play. Look, that's what he did the whole game against LSU. It wasn't design quarterback runs. It was his ability amid chaos to go make plays, and he's done that all year. So got to believe that they're going to find a way to get going a little bit offensively, Ole Miss. I think the question more is, do you trust Carson Beck and that Miami offense to be able to match them if they need to, or can they dictate the style? I always say styles make fights, and these are two different styles. Miami's going to play defense and run the football. I mean, they have an outstanding running back that they are going to want to line up and run the ball in Fletcher and shorten this football game, and it'll be fascinating to see if they can do it. But, man, it's one of those things where I don't know that I can bet against Ole Miss right now. Just the way that they're playing, riding this heater, and they got a special dude under center taking the snaps. I will be pulling hard for Miami in this football game. But, man, you made me pick. I think I'd take the Rebels, see if they can get this one done tonight. So we'll see where Jimmy falls on it when he's with us coming up right after the break. We are brought to you by Parrish Construction and Roofing. Do business with someone you know. That's me and Terrio and Tilly and Joe and our whole staff over at Parrish Construction and Roofing. We're expecting rain tonight and a ton of rain tomorrow. I want to remind you, when it rains, this always happens. 2 ways to find out if you got roof damage. Number one, you let us come do a free, no-obligation roofing inspection. We'll get up there, walk it, mark it, chalk it. It's totally free to do this, by the way. Photos of a full roof inspection. Or wait till it rains, you get water in your house. And one of those options is better than the other, so let us come help you out. We have, of course, a free no-obligation roofing inspection. By the way, if anyone charges you for an inspection, run the other way. And, if we have financing available as well. So if you need to replace your roof, we can finance the whole thing. If your insurance does approve the replacement and you have to pay the deductible, you need help, we can help you finance the deductible as well. We're going to work with you to get your beautiful roof, do it right. Our crews are friendly, and they're going to be super clean and take care of your property. So we'd love to help you out. ParishBuilt.com, ParishBuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. Parrish Construction and Roofing, ParishBuilt.com. All right, it is after further review. We've got one thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. So Jimmy will be here for Otter Locks when we come back. Picks are up at LouisianaSports.net. We're keeping an eye as well on the tracker over at LouisianaSports.net for this portal tracker. If you haven't bookmarked that page yet, highly recommend you go do this. If you go to LouisianaSports.net, like right there, the very first thing, the top story is the roster tracker, and it's everybody. It's the players that have announced they're staying, the players that are in the portal, the ones that have entered the portal where they've already committed. For example, Teron Francis recently committed to West Virginia. That's all there. the LSU portal additions, and then the names of guys that are reportedly visiting or have visited LSU. It's all there, right there at LouisianaSports.net on the homepage. So go bookmark that page on the website. All right, it's AFR. Jimmy's here next. Stick around.
AFR.
We're brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Spell it out. Hey, remember, our friends at River City's 1 Hour Air, they have more than double the amount of 5-star Google reviews of the next closest competitor. That's because they hire great people and they keep their people because they treat them well, they have great pay, great benefits, and they have a family-like atmosphere over at River City's 1 Hour Air, continuing education. They invest in their people. So you get the best people, like Britton, who's been over to my house. And Christy sent this 5-star Google review. Britton was efficient and professional. He explained issues and concerns so I could understand them and make an informed decision. Great service. Another 5-star Google review. Got an issue with your heater? River City's 1 Hour Air can help. 752-0001, 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on this Thursday edition of AFR. We always appreciate Blazia and the great team over at Decision Critical, our Thursday sponsor all throughout the year. DecisionCriticalBR.com. It's not just healthcare. It's healthcare for your lifestyle. DecisionCriticalBR.com. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go. Nope. Let's not go around the SEC. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. It's time for Otter Locks. We did it.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance AC Repair. Same-day service means you will never sleep hot. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Hey, Otter. What up?
What's happening? What's going on, Matthew?
Another day. Looking forward to this game tonight. I'm not going to bet it because I want to cheer very much against Ole Miss, but I think Ole Miss is probably the play. What say you?
Yeah, I think so. I'm betting on Ole Miss tonight. So, and I also like the alternate line. I mean, that place kicker is a real weapon. LSU certainly showed some interest in him, and Ole Miss up the price on keeping him for next year. But I mean, he's hitting 55-yarders in the net like they're nothing. And the pressure of all pressure kicks to the walk-off from that he just drilled. So, man, he's a weapon with an already explosive offense. But look, Ole Miss is a more consistent team over the course of the season. Their only loss is at Athens against Georgia, where they led by 9 points in the fourth quarter. They got him on a neutral site, and they outgained him by 140 yards. I mean, everybody was giving Georgia just as much of a chance as Ohio State and Indiana entering the field of 12. I didn't. I thought that Indiana, Texas Tech, and Ohio State were the only three that could win it all. I'm down to one as far as that's concerned. But Trinidad Chambliss is the best player in college football right now. If his team would have gone undefeated, look, if he was playing quarterback for Indiana, he'd have won the Heisman. They were so good up front, but he's just doing it all. He's limitless, minus size. I don't care about a pro prospect, but playing at this level, he can move, he can throw with accuracy, he protects the ball. He can get you a first down with scrambling when the play breaks down. I mean, we all saw the Sugar Bowl. I mean, nobody is playing at that level. I mean, he's a Johnny Manziel with discipline. I mean, he's really playing at a high level, and great. I just think I'm rolling with the best player in football. I'm curious to see because the Miami front the defensive front is so respected. If they go a little bit more tempo to try and wear them out a little bit, and we've seen the Malzahns and the Heupels and the Kiffins come in here initially, and they want to go hyper speed, and they realize, man, my defensive front is all banged up by the middle of the season and by the end of the games. You can't do that in the SEC. But this game in this spot, I'm curious. Also, we don't have player props. But I do think Malachi Tony's going to have a big game against this Ole Miss defense tonight. So I like Ole Miss and plus the 3.5. It's been teetering between 3 and 3.5.
1 minute remaining.
Respected action coming in late last night that drove it down from 3.5 to 3. I also like a DraftKings, the alternate line. Give me that same situation. Tied late in the game. -2.5 is plus 160.
Okay.
-2.5 is plus 160. We already have Northwestern in basketball plus 12.5. They have an early lead, 18-16 at Michigan State.
By the way, there's also a 30% boost over at DraftKings, so go take advantage of the boost there as well.
I did as well. I got that one.
All
there
right.
you go.
All right,
take those boosts.
Where are you tomorrow? Oh, tomorrow Friday, Rufino's.
It's a new place on Highland Road called Rufino's.
We'll look forward to it. I wish you no luck tonight. I hope you lose all your money because I want Ole Miss to get their ass kicked.
Me too. Okay, let's go.
Thanks,
all
Al.
right.
We'll see.
Good
That's Jimmy. I'll be at Rufino's tomorrow. Okay, that's going to do it for us as we get on down the road. Muse, Paulie, appreciate it. You missed anything, AFR On Demand presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time at golf.breck.org. We'll be back tomorrow at 3. It's AFR.
AFR.
Man, I had an awesome dinner last night at Supper Club. Jetted out of here, went over to Supper Club, had dinner with the clients, with folks over at Our Lady of the Lake. Had an awesome time. Tried the Australian Wagyu. I'm telling you, there's always something. We actually did a little family style. We ordered a few different things and shared. So we had the Australian Wagyu, which was melt in your mouth, outstanding, cooked to perfection, a chef's kiss. But then also we had the sea bass, so a little surf, a little turf. And I'm telling you, if you love fish, even if you don't love fish, you will love this sea bass. Whatever you order at Supper Club, it's going to be the best thing you've ever had. I love telling you about that veal parm. It's amazing. This giant veal chop. Aside from the steak, might be my favorite thing on the menu. We had some tuna poke. It's just, no matter what you order, you are going to have an exceptional dining experience. And when it comes to the experience as well, no environment beats Supper Club any night or for a special night. SupperClubBTR.com.